Friday safety focus of the week at 6:30. It's February 16th, halfway through February. This week's code of conduct is to maintain confidentiality of insider information learned about ECI or about our clients. Ben Dow, you have any more thoughts on our code item this week?
Well, sometimes the contracts that we sign have confidentiality clauses in them, which the project managers, if they're stricter than normal, we like to make sure to train the crew and explain to you guys the confidentiality extremity, which sometimes happens at places like Global Foundries, or for example, when we worked at Vermont Nuclear Power Plant when it was still in operation. But I always say, use common sense. When you learn things about some of the numbers in our bids, if you can follow all the other code items, they'll guide you on this one a little bit. So I guess that's all I have. Use common sense. When in doubt, don't say it if it doesn't quite feel right.
Yep. So our safety count, we're up to 48 days from our last recordable. We did have a first aid injury yesterday, a hand injury. Crew did a good job reporting right away. We were able to redirect and head over to Champlain Medical, and they are able to fix us up and get us back to work. So we'll discuss more about that incident in future weeks, future meetings. But again, let's just make sure we're starting the day off with a good, well thought out plan. Let's communicate that plan across all crew members, and let's really try to make sure safety is prioritized in our decision making and our thinking out there on our sites. We have Beth Schiller with Champlain Medical joining us today to talk a little bit about wellness. So take it away, Beth.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So just a brief discussion about wellness and you. Wanted to briefly talk about a few items here. Wellness, i.e. preventative health, the costs of wellness, the goals, who we are as healthcare providers, and just be mindful of yourself. Wellness. So what is the definition of wellness? We hear that term all over the place. And so wellness really is sort of a combination of a whole bunch of things. It's health, it's fitness, it's how much energy you got, how stressed out you are, your diet, your mindset, what you're eating for food, activity, do you get to relax? That is sort of the big overall picture of wellness. And so you guys understand this concept. I'm guessing that most of you probably change your oil on your car or maybe your snowmobile or your ATV on a pretty regular basis, right? You do preventative maintenance. You take care of that vehicle or ATV to make sure that it continues to run well. Well, you're taking great care of your four-wheeled or three-wheeled item, but now we need to look at you, because that's the important piece of what's going on. So when we talk about wellness, we talk about, good health, good life, trying to manage medical issues before they become a problem. It's much, much simpler to manage things before they get into a crisis mode. Thinking about mental health issues before they affect your work, your home, and your well-being. Introducing that concept of wellness and also our medical system, which don't always go well together. I can say that things have changed over the years with how much time you get to spend with a primary care provider. But what we offer, I think you'll really enjoy, because we like to spend time with you guys. Anyways, and the yearly screenings, they can add years to your life. And so you say, big deal, no problem. But think about what that translates to. If you got kids, you got grandkids, more time where you can be active with those grandkids, running around with them, playing, games and stuff like that. And then the other piece is more time for you to enjoy what you like to do outside of work with regards to hobbies and anything else that you enjoy doing. So in terms of when you come to see us, if you signed up for the wellness program, but you haven't quite come in for that first visit, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do with you, we're going to talk to you about your medical history. You know, what's gone on in the past for you? Is there any concerns that you have? We're also going to talk to you about your family medical history. And the reason we do that is because genetics plays a real big picture sometimes in various things like high blood pressure, or if you have high cholesterol, oftentimes you'll see it in your lineage. And so we can pick up on that, and we may make decisions together that may make sense for you based on your family history. In terms of what are we going to do when you come to our office, you know, we're going to do what we call vital signs. We're going to check your height, your weight, your pulse, your blood pressure. We're going to do a hearing screening for you, a baseline, and then subsequently, once a year, when you come back, we're going to do another hearing screening so we can compare things, and so we can give you a little bit of a heads up on if your hearing is diminished and things that you can do to avoid continuing to lose your hearing, because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. We also may do what's called an EKG, and what we do is we hook you up electrically. We don't zap you, and we just take a look at the electrical system that you have going on in your heart to make sure everything looks the way it should. And then we're going to do some lab work, and it's going to be based on how old you are, your medical family history. And I know a lot of you are terrified of needles, and I really enjoy the folks that have had lots of tattoos put on are still terrified of needles. But don't worry, just tell us that you're scared, that you don't like needles. We'll lie you down, we'll give you some apple juice, and we won't tell anybody at ECI. So just briefly, if you have any questions about our program, touch base with either Matt or Tom or Ben or Ken, and they'll help give you some information about it and get you set up with us. And the only other thing I wanted to talk about is for those of you guys that are already in the program, the goals here is that you're going to come back at least once a year to do the same thing over and over, because your medical history may change from year to year. Things may have happened from one year to the next. And so we want to have that conversation so that we can best help you take care of yourself moving forward. And if there's any other questions.
I'm going to call today and make my annual physical after this meeting.
And Ben, you going to do that?
What's that? Me?
You're going to make
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
I know Ken's overdue.
I don't think I'm overdue.
Yeah.
I think it was probably last February or so that I
Yeah.
went. But
Yeah,
I need to come in next week. Like Monday. I got some stitches to remove. Is that covered by my wellness program?
Absolutely.
So
We'll even put them in next time if we're around.
Well, I was around, but I was advised to go to the ER because of the concern for with a head injury and have a CAT scan. So I did that.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I'm happy to report I was at the ER like less than 2 hours with all that.
Yeah.
I was there at the right time.
Right.
I was very fortunate there.
Sometimes they can turn it around really quickly, but other days it's just horrible. So.
Yep.
But
so I'll call and set up an appointment for Monday. Yeah,
and you know what, Ken? You don't even need to call. You can just show up.
Well, I'd like to, if it's possible, I'd like to fit in my physical.
Your wellness?
That's why I want to call.
All right. Yeah. Give a call and we'll make space for that.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much. Anyone else out there have any questions for Beth?
I think it's cool to put it in your calendar. I think I have a reminder in my calendar when it's a year to redo the thing that I haven't seen it yet, but it's also would be cool if you guys could figure out how we could send that out to people. I don't know if you do or not, because I haven't gotten one yet, but I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
just like a reminder.
We haven't done that. However, I can provide, and I have provided to Matt the day of their physical, and then essentially it'll be a year later.
Yep.
Can we set up an appointment a year in advance? That way it's in our calendar and your calendar.
Yeah, we can do that.
That makes a lot of sense when we do our
when you check out, you can say, hey, I want to book for next year.
Yep.
That's
perfect.
Okay. I like
and
that.
then you'll get a reminder. So
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, Ken, you're good till June. And Ben, you're good till looks like July, yeah.
Yep. I try to make it mine coincide with some of the other stuff I do in that time of year, but yeah.
I see. Okay.
If there's any questions, just contact me. I have the list, and we'll try to send out an email here after the meeting too with everyone that's overdue. And Beth, now's a good time. You guys aren't super busy. Get us
now is a great time because the construction season hasn't really gotten revved up in earnest, and generally speaking, we shouldn't have any problem getting appointments for folks and spending the time that we need to spend, and that hopefully the guys appreciate that time, because sometimes it's a scary experience, and we want to just let it be nice and chill, and let folks allow folks the time to ask the questions that they want to ask.
So maybe as some of the people go right around now, then rather than wait until maybe they're up in a month or so when we're really busy, we can maybe make some of the appointments work out to the best time of the year for you guys too.
Yep. That'd be perfect.
Okay.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks. You too.
All righty. Bye now.
Thanks, Beth.
Okay, bye. I will share my screen to start with, and then Phil is going to present for the project of the week, and he'll take over, but I'll start. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So for announcements, just have a fleet maintenance announcement, and Ben McKinney wanted to mention this. So Ben, are you out there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, just real quick. I think we've been doing a good job of washing, rinsing vehicles and equipment too, whether you're a mover or whether you are hooked to a mini or a small skid steer. On those warm days, if you're moving them and they're covered in salt, rinse them off when they get to their destination. Easy if it's here, a little harder if it's on a job site. We've got a mobile pressure washer, and not as convenient, but even a pump sprayer, starting off with a clean one that's not full of form oil, and some water can work. And remember trailers too. That's one thing that sometimes we forget, is that spraying off those trailers, especially underneath them, that goes a long way too. So keep up the good work.
I think trailers are one of the more susceptible pieces of our fleet to salts because they don't get washed very often. So good point. Okay, Corpy gate security. Just a reminder again, mentioned this last week, but 99 Engineers Drive, the old Corpy trucking service, is now occupied by ECI. At some point, we'll have full-time presence in the building. And until then, we need to keep the yard and the building secure when we're done any activity in there, because we're sharing that that yard area with White truck service, or whatever he goes by, Obi White, and his dad Bert. And just a reminder, I'm going to send in later this morning the ECI banquet list, E-Week banquet list. And we're sponsoring E-Week banquet. It's held next Friday night at the Delta Hotel, South Burlington. And the event is put on by several engineering societies and part of a nationwide celebration of the engineering profession. So let myself know if you're interested in attending. I will send out the current list later this morning of people, to the people who are signed up, so they are reminded and know about it. And then if you respond, say before noon, I'll get you on the list. And safety toe boot reimbursement, we mentioned this again last week. We have revised it to have a be on a semi-annual basis. Ben Dow, do you have anything to say about the safety toe boot reimbursement?
Yeah, the safety toe boot. Make sure to verify that the boots you're putting your slips in for are safety toe. I know that Tom Pigeon has a pair of the rubber boots that have safety toes. So if you guys want to get those waterproof ones, now that you have two reimbursements per year, I think those are really cool. Ask Tom; he can tell you where he got them or what brand they are. I think those work really well. And I want to thank the safety committee for coming up with this suggestion, because I think it's really gonna help everyone to get that extra pair of boots. You know, when you get one wet, even in the middle of summer, you know, you step in that puddle and you soak those really good boots. It's nice to be able to put them on the dryer for a day and switch to your other pair. There's a benefit sometimes to having two different pairs of boots, and switching them out a little bit.
Or sometimes even on a cold day,
Yeah.
back at the job
Yep.
trailer, office, or shop, whatever you hopefully have for power, you can have a little boot heater come in at lunchtime, change into warm boots.
Yeah. And
Nothing
there
better
shouldn't
than
be a
that on
problem.
cold day.
There's certain operations that we do that those types of footwear are going to be required, and our supervisors are going to be expecting that everyone has a pair of safety toe boots for the certain operations that they do. So you've got access to be able to get reimbursed for two pairs per year. So get out there and get them now. There's a lot of awesome boots out there nowadays that you can get.
And the idea is safety toe, even if you aren't required
Yes.
to get them, that's the idea behind this policy, is to get everybody in it, even if you don't need them. So then the next item here is the employee referral policy. Again, we talked about that last week, and we're revising it and continuing it. So if you have any questions, just check these policy links, or also check with Ben Dow, probably, right, Ben?
Yep.
Okay. Then the final announcement, it's been on a couple weeks here, but I was reminded yesterday by the administration group to make sure I stress this need to update our beneficiary files. And that was sent out to you last week or the week before, and it includes life insurance and 401k information, so that if there is an event where your beneficiaries are to get any kind of the benefit that they're entitled to, that it's clear who you want that to go to. And sometimes it's not as clear as it should be. I know I got my form the other day and I looked at it, was extremely surprised to see that it was last updated in 2000. I thought it said 20, but apparently it said 2002. But my situation, obviously the company knows where I am and everything as far as my addresses. You know, my status has changed very little. So anyway, we'll just check with Gina if you have any questions or concerns. And for this week, we have 3 new employees. We have Brandon LeBlanc. He'll be part of the civil group. We have Stephen Corey, another civil group guy. And Bradley Johnson. Bump the screen here. I don't know if you saw the sidebar come up as a pain all the time. Bradley Johnson, again, the civil group. Trying to advance my slide. For some reason, it's
Nice to be able to see bringing in new employees right now.
right.
So everyone
very cool.
So everybody go out there and recruit some good talent, because what Ken was explaining there on the referral program, if you refer one person and they stay for 4 weeks, you get $250, and then after 6 months, if we retain them, it's another $750. That's $1,000 for a good referral that you can do. And there are a couple of people last year that recruited several people, and you can do up to 5. And Ken, you're not in the program right now, but we could talk about it. But I still encourage you to recruit.
Okay, thanks. Well, you know, as an option
Kenny?
to recruiting, we can just grow them like this next piece here.
Okay, here we go.
ECI
Hey, Kenny?
children's size sweatshirts are now available, so check with Sarah to be on an upcoming order. And there's several sizes from 2T up to youth XS to XL, and price is $10 for the smaller size, $15 for the larger. All this is to benefit the Make-A-Wish. The company buys all these sweatshirts and fronts all the money, and then all the proceeds. So effectively, the company donates to the committee doing the charitable contributions, and every dime that is made off these $10 purchases goes to the Make-A-Wish for this year, which was selected by the charity committee. So we get some great pictures, and again, like I said, this is the other way to recruit, is just to grow them. If we can't recruit, we grow new employees. And look at these guys. They are definitely, look, that first one, I don't recall whose son that is, but he's got a drill in his hand already. He's got a cordless.
That looks like a little Piper.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yes, that is a little Piper. Yep.
You can
So
recruit family, Ken.
You can?
They're, yep.
Well, then
Future recruits,
counts,
like you said.
sign them up early and have the kids sign a commitment letter, right? These are just some great images, great poses, exciting little young faces. I love to see it. And I can't wait to see them all as ECI employees.
They're all happy.
They are very happy. And
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look at the little Forster.
I was
that
going to
the
bring a
Forster?
couple down to Florida then.
yeah. Barking out orders is what he's doing. And there's some of the dads, a couple of the dad pictures. Yeah. All in ECI uniforms here.
That's awesome.
Look at that. Pretty exciting. A great time in their lives. An exciting time, right?
Ta-da!
It
There's the
all
last
stays
pose.
Yeah. So then I have the primary care wellness program that we talked about earlier. It's always on the link here on the email. So if you kind of forget what the information is and you just want to kind of peek at it, it's always right here. And for this week, project of the week, we have Phil Forster talking about the update for 2023 to the end of 23 on the VTrans Richmond Bridge, which I think you're going to take over the screen, right, Phil?
Yep. Can you see a photo of Richmond right now? I got a thumbs up from a couple people. So.
Yeah, you're good, Phil.
Okay,
All
I got to change over because I'm looking at my own screen. There we go. I see it too.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. ECI is contracted with VTrans to replace and then remove Bridge 29, which currently carries Route 2 over I-89 just south of Richmond Village. The project was last highlighted in September and has continued to progress ahead of schedule since then. Although existing, oh, that didn't work. 1 second. Sorry. Although existing utilities on the job were simple compared to many of the urban project ECI undertakes, they still seem to interfere with every single headwall and culvert we were contracted to install. A good relationship with Consolidated, Champlain Valley Telecom, and GMP allowed for quick and simple fixes to most of our conflict issues. A concrete encased duct bank now runs a total length of 352 linear feet beneath proposed Route 2, containing 2 8-inch power conduits and 2 2-inch communication conduits. We used custom designed conduit spacers, which made it fast and easy to install. And so here you got a couple, you can see the trench here. The guys were able to put an incredible amount of linear footage down in a day and get it backfilled, because it did hinder our backfilling abilities for Route 2. But yeah, the guys worked hard. And in some cases, we had to form it up ahead of time. We'll get to that on the MSC wall, but this is kind of what it looked like. GMP paid us a little extra to put in a 30.5 kV vault. This was a lot larger than what was originally proposed on the plans. But after GMP realized what had been proposed to be put in its place, they interjected and they spec'd this vault instead. So that was us setting that vault early one morning. After we got all that in the ground, abutment 1 approach was backfilled to finish grade, and the back wall and wing wall were backfilled to their final condition. You can see here, sadly, most of the nice form linered wing walls, the orange line is finish grade. It's a lot of effort that the guys put in, and it looks really nice, but sadly, it's getting buried about 75% of the way. But at least we have a picture of it, so we can remember how nice it looked. This proposed section of Route 2 then received its first course of pavement for approximately 360 linear feet, using around 250 tons of asphalt, which there's just one more picture of the backfill there. You can see the wing wall covered, and it looks really nice. Chris Potman helped shape that all in. And there are the pavers. Paving that section served two purposes. It secured the subgrade for future disturbance and provided a nice, clean, and usable laydown area for the next phase of the project. And here's an aerial shot of our current Richmond laydown and parking area. Now over to the interstate median. ECI used an FCO gangform system for both pier and stem cap. The gangform system not only allowed for on-the-ground assembly, but provided a smooth and almost seamless face to the pier outside the portion that received the form liner. The pier consisted of roughly 20,000 pounds of rebar and 71 cubic yards of self-consolidating concrete. Here you can see that incredible mat of rebar that's standing up inside the pier, looking down. You know, it's not something you'd want to drop your tape measure or hammer down in. It would never come back. 10 days after the panels were delivered to the job site, the pier was formed, braced, and poured. So there it is, just prior to the pour. It's pour day. And you can see with the limited space and the geometry we had on the job site, getting the pump in and out was fairly tricky and took a lot of very Austin Powers style going back and forth in and out of the median. There are the guys post pour and the finished product. After curing, the pier forms were stripped and reused in a different configuration for the pier cap. The cap was built on the ground, flown into position while navigating a busy southbound interstate travel lane, and placed on top of the pier. So you can see kind of some of the tight geometries we were dealing with there. We can't close the interstate. We're only allowed to close a lane from in the morning until 3 p.m. So a lot of this had to be timed perfectly. And it was a tight fit right on top. There was a period of time where I didn't think it would fit, but everyone did a good job forming, and it actually had a half-inch space around the whole outside. So there it's going down. And you can see how close the boom is to the uprights on the staging. And there it was finally in place. Suncoast LLC remobilized to the site to tie the pier cap rebar, and ECI closed up the forms, added the necessary internal formwork, the steps and the chamfer, and poured the cap. And all this work took place within 15 days. So the system's ability to be assembled and broken down on the ground rapidly increased the period in which such a complicated structure could be built. And it was a welcome reprieve while working in an area with limited access and restricted working times. And the final product now stands proudly in the median. You can see it when you drive by. Here's a little time lapse of taking those gang forms off afterwards to show us how quickly you can get those forms down from 25 feet, 30 feet, lay them on the ground and then disassemble them rapidly. So the next morning, the flatbed trucks were on site, and all these panels were banded up and shipped out, ready to be sent back to Pennsylvania. And there it is.
Wow.
The new bridge is substantially shorter than the existing bridge and has 2 spans instead of 8. This is possible in part because abutment 2 on the northeast side of the project is much closer to the interstate than the existing abutment and is constructed on a large fill section. You can kind of see there the MSC walls poking out behind the right here behind the old bridge, and it's much shorter span. An MSC wall, mechanically stabilized earth wall, was scoped to retain the abutment and its approach fill. The wall is contractor designed and fabricated. Contractor and fabricator designed, and ECI worked closely with Reinforced Earth Company, RICO, to refine the geometry to make the system constructible. This MSC wall uses thin-faced elements, precast about 6 inches thick, and internal strips, which grip the backfill. You can imagine these galvanized strips as holding back the wall panels while simultaneously strengthening the earth behind it, reducing the amount of soil that pushes on the wall. So there's just the first bottom mesh. You can see both the front face and the side face panels have strips that go perpendicular to each other, and you have to navigate the strips past each other and past what we'll get into, the H piles later on. The strip length, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. The strip length into the fill is a function of the wall height, typically between 70 to 85%. The wall panels themselves must start below the frost elevation on cast in place leveling pads. Anytime one steps a footing into a steep bank, things get very deep on the high side of the step, and this wall was no exception. After working with RICO to scope final wall geometry, ECI went to work defining the limits of excavation and design the excavation support system to facilitate it. Between the dimensional ratios of the strips, which extended 28 feet into the steep bank, and the footing steps, this component of the project resulted in a huge cut requiring a major excavation support system and sequence planning. The excavation for the wall, construction of the SOE system, pile driving, construction of the MSC wall itself, and large abutment it supports was an all hands on deck mission, and nearly every crew in the bridge group was involved to one point or another, and sometimes even simultaneously. So here you can see the guys working themselves down from the original sloped embankment. You can see there's some ledge down in the lower right-hand corner. Ricky's down at the bottom bailing out the dirt, and the guys are up top already starting the shotcrete wall installation. This was done at the deepest section in 5 lifts. And the guys worked meticulously. A lot of planning went into exactly how this work was going to be phased, how the material was going to be loaded out, while also allowing the guys to work. And here are just some shots of how he went about doing it. There on Ricky's controller, you can see kind of the complicated geometry that was the SOE excavate, the MSC wall excavation. You know, as you have such a steep slope, the bottom strips, they go back 20 feet into the wall, or 28 feet. And so as you come back, this fill section gets deeper and deeper. And so you can counteract that by stepping up. And there's a fine line between having too many steps and it slowing down the process, and also having an excavation that's too deep. So we worked together to kind of define that. And I think in the end, we had a pretty good system. There they are. That's the second course, third. Now we're getting down here. You can kind of see the ledge that we started to encounter. A lot of that had to be removed. There's Cody, the team behind him. Some more shotcrete photos from over by the pier. Just it's hard to capture exactly how deep it was and how complicated and tight the space was. You know, you can see the equipment there. We rented a special excavator from Cat just to be able to maneuver in some of these tight spaces, and it made backfilling difficult as well. The excavation support system consisted of 3,600 square feet of shotcrete wall that was constructed over the course of 5 different lifts, and was restrained with 2,125 linear feet of soil nails. Once the 2,200 cubic yards of material were sequentially excavated and the ledge was hammered down to make room for the galvanized strips mentioned above, the first few courses of MSC panels were set and backfilled, creating a flat surface from which to drive H-pile. Just wanted to hear the guys are working together as a team to unload these trucks of galvanized strips. You know, at the factory, they load these with a gantry crane in one load. The truck pulls underneath and they get dropped on, and then we're left to figure out how to handle these. and they're very long, they're very flexible, and this was a good effort by the team to get these unloaded safely. There's the drainage underneath the MSE wall before the first footing. These are the sleeves we used to help with the H-pile layout. Now these H-piles, since ledge was right there, we really couldn't set them right off the bat. So we had to do some backfilling so that they had some stability when they were driven into the ground. And there you can see some of this, most of the sleeves in at this point. And the panels, and we're working up to that first layer that we could drive them from. Again, a good shot of the strip layout and how it had to be, figured out exactly where these strips are going to go. They do have deviations that you're allowed to deviate from perpendicular, but you I think it was only 5 degrees. While working around the sleeves and the H-piles proved to be a continuous challenge, which was overcome with some clevering backfilling techniques and a lot of manpower. This was necessary since driving pile through the sleeves and risking alignment issues or strip damage was not an option. The strips really provide all the strength to the wall, and and the tolerances for H-pile placement was tight. You had to nail it, and so we couldn't afford to both hit a strip and damage a strip, which would cause the wall to fail, but we also couldn't allow our piles to be out of place. So here are all the piles after we drove them and sleeved them, and that's the kind of the working space the guys had to work within to backfill. We ended up flying a small excavator right in the center pile to help with some of the backfilling, and everything around that was done with the crane bucket and just plain good old manpower. See the wall growing there some more.
Because you guys
Awesome
did such a good
pictures.
job watering it, Phil. That's why it grew.
Yes, man,
Yeah.
I wish I had the video. Ken Aller did water those H piles every day, and they grew. Quick little video on how to.
Oh, this is nice. A little video.
A question, Phil, do you get a plaque? Is there a plaque that you, the state supplied that you case in the concrete
Yes, Jim. Yeah. So that.
on the abutments?
Yes, there is a
Yeah.
there is a plaque that will go
Builder's
inside the
plaque.
abutment.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's cool.
It's in now, or is it going
No,
later?
it's not in yet. That goes
Not
in the upper portion of wing wall of abutment.
Gotcha.
1. Not yet. Yeah. So you can see the wall slowly growing. Once we got to this elevation, the piles had to be struck with a diesel hammer, which took some extra designing to ensure that the wall could handle those loads of the crane sitting in the MSE on the MSE wall itself. And there's the team using the diesel hammer for final strike. In this case, we had excavated the ledge and then backfilled it, so we knew the piles were going to be good, but the exercise still needed to be done. And then now that we've backfilled, a lot of it was done with crane and bucket and loaders, and now we were finally able to start backing our trucks in, and that really accelerated the process of building the wall. Here the guys are forming up the abutment, and it had to, both the wall and the abutment had to be built simultaneously because they tie together. And so here I've just got some photos. Here's the abutment footing built on top of the pile, on top of the piles. There's Mr. Munson. And here you can see some of the steps. This is where we have quite a few steps as we come up the elevation and the slope. Guys working diligently on getting those all to the right grade.
I'll just point out, Phil, super heavy piling, HP 114 or HP 14 by 117. So to my knowledge, that's the heaviest piling I've ever driven here. I think that's some of the heaviest piling we've ever driven. So kind of neat.
Yeah. Here's a shot of the footing pour as they're forming up the back wall while we're simultaneously still building the MSE wall, because again, they have to kind of come up simultaneously. And there's a nice shot to show you how tall this wall. Every time you came in, the wall got taller and taller. One of the things we did, we had this had this modular handrail. After you place the panel, we just bounce these back and forth between the panels because obviously you had a fall hazard there that was ever changing and getting higher and higher as well. And this is a nice shot sequencing just how the abutment came up. There's the abutment and the bridge seat itself. That's what the bridge girders are going to sit on top, that second wall. And then here's the back wall and where we are to date. That is the MSC wall. This is a different kind of MSC wall that the homeowners up the street received after the agency made a mistake with, or I don't know if it was a mistake, miscommunication with how much land they needed to construct the project. They agreed to build this gravity wall, and I think the guys did a nice job on that. It looks really good.
Looks nice.
You can be proud of. I wouldn't mind having one of those at my house.
Very nice.
Yeah, watch out though, that they're man killers, you know.
Oh, I was gonna ask what happened. I didn't want to.
Yeah, don't slip into one.
Well, here it is, the project in its current state. The guys, last pour of the year did have to blanket it, even though winter took a while to get here. And there's the project in
Nice.
it's all its glory.
Nice.
While the pier and the abutment with the pier and the abutments being completed, the project is ready for steel, which is anticipated to be delivered in July of this year. ECI will spend the beginning of 2024 season focusing on constructing interstate crossovers in 3 different locations along I-89 to allow for phased construction of the bridge while protecting the traveling public from the overhead hazards this will create. These crossovers will only be used for the setting of the structural steel and the removing of the existing bridge in 2025. ECI's goal for 2024 is to have traffic on the new bridge by the end of the construction season. And I want to thank Ken Pigeon for finding us that great flag.
Yeah. Yeah. What were the dimensions again?
I think it's 25 by 40.
It's a good size flag.
Yeah, it takes about 15 people to fold it up properly.
All right, good. Well, thank you very much, Phil. That's a very cool job. And there's some great photos, good action shots. Very proud of all this work. So good job to everybody.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see. I'll take it over real quick and we'll look.
Is it just the archive photo, Ken?
Oh, yes, you got it.
Yeah, I can.
If you're on it, pull it
I
up.
can do it. Real quick, scroll to the bottom here. One second. It may have been faster for you to do, sorry. Here's a Rygate photo from the archives. This Rygate temporary bulkhead wall. This was also a mechanically stabilized earth wall. It used gravity blocks with a mesh reinforcing. And this was back in May 2016. Had Kobe DeBartolo there, myself, and Ben McKinney.
Yep. You guys are younger looking.
We were.
Skinnier.
Thanks,
I didn't want to say that.
All right, good. Well, thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Matt.
So I had one thing, Ken.
Yep.
Back earlier in the email, we had our new hires, Stephen Corey and Bradley Johnston's name are switched on the email. So yeah, Bradley Johnston's the guy in the middle with the glasses.
Okay.
And the last guy in the photo lineup. So maybe we run them next week.
I'll run them next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get extra viewing. Yeah.
We'll give you guys
Sorry
extra
about that, guys.
points because I know you guys are out there.
Mixed up the names.
Yeah, we're sorry. Thanks, Ken.
All righty. Hey, Matt.
Yes, buddy.
Drive safe today with winter conditions out there. Remember your following distance. Remember your speed out there.
It's still coming down.
Yeah, it is.
So stay safe, and let's make sure plenty of salt down today. Slip, trips, and falls on projects, please.
Don't do it. Don't slip.
Yeah. If you're watching a group setting, please send over attendance so we can capture it. Let's stay safe. Let's have a great day.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys.